How did your crazy ex become your crazy ex? After I broke up with her, she used makeup to make fake bruising on her arms, neck, and face. She then proceeded to send pictures of all of this to our mutual friends as a warning about me. I suspected that she was crazy long before I knew her, but I realized that she was a freaking psychopath when she asked me to euthanize my dog because he was taking up too much of our time. Holy crap, that's a nightmare! Yeah, I had to pull to the side of the road to finish that conversation because I started shaking uncontrollably after those words sank in. Dude, that is what we call a stage 5 clinger. Put an ad in the paper, became a lady of the night, brought clients to our family home, we had kids. If finding out your partner was cheating was an Olympic sport, this guy might be taking home the gold. I can't decide if this is hilarious or horrifying. Sims characters should never date their neighbors. Ever had a girlfriend threaten to harm herself because your Sims character is dating the computer-generated neighbor? I did. She woke me up because I had the night sweats and she was convinced I had AIDS. For some reason, I decided to appease her and I got a full STD screening test, including an expensive AIDS test. A few weeks later, I drove to her house and gave her my signed note, which I specifically had to request from my doctor stating my clean bill of health. She accused me of foraging the entire thing and in the following argument pulled out her plates out of her cupboard and started frisbeeing them at me. I left immediately. About 6 months later, I had just started dating my now fiance. She contacted me to tell me that she believed me and wanted to know if she and her 2 dogs could move in with me. I never responded. Dude, just waking up and demanding you get an AIDS test should have been the I'm getting the freak out of here moment. I knew that, I know that. I was young and she seemed cool prior to that. She also got extremely religious during the course of all of that and quit her well-paying job without notice. Honestly, I think her mental health was on a serious decline. I can speak as someone who has dated a fair share of toxic women. When you are dumb, young, and full of well, you often don't think clearly and red flags turn gray. He painted my name all over his bedroom, bathroom, and lounge room, proposed and then photoshopped us into wedding pictures, sent invites to all of his family, mine and my friends, got an ultrasound photo online and tried to announce to Facebook that we were expecting a baby, shaved our initials into his cat and left hundreds of love letters taped to my car. So that was crazy. We went on half a double date with friends. I was just being a good sport. Noped out when he proposed when the food came out. The rest came over the next week. To clarify, in case that was confusing, this was all after our one and only date. This wasn't a we dated for months and then his crazy came out. This was we met an hour ago, why are you proposing to me? She tried to draw my blood out while I was sleeping to put it in a vial she wore around her neck. Dude, I heard about people that do this, and I just have to ask why. Like, what is the purpose? Would start arguments out of thin air because I'm drama, and this is who I am. Then one day, I went drinking in her hometown. She ran into her ex, and a day later, she said sorry, but I'm going to start dating him again. 2 days after that, she was begging to get back together. Nope. Messaged me occasionally for a few years to go out for a drink, but eventually she stopped when she got knocked up. Good luck to the guy who knocked her up. In addition to being an absolute gem of a personality, she had awful genetics and family. Getting that quote at the start just made me think of Breaking Bad. I'm drama, and I'm the one who starts it. He tried to strangle me with an HDMI cord because I didn't straighten my hair that day. He had been crazy for a while, but this was the very moment when I realized it. He walked miles in the snow to get to my house, tapped on my bedroom window for an hour until I acknowledged him. I turned him away. In the morning, I heard him rustling in my closet upon waking up. The little freak snuck into my house somehow and was hiding in my closet. I threatened to call the cops, so he left. Weeks later, he emailed me pictures of me sleeping from that night. I still have nightmares about finding him in my closet. This is by far one of the worst stories I've ever read here. I truly hope you are okay and have some form of legal separation from this psycho. He called me endlessly for 2 years. He's disappeared now, but it took a while. Are we gonna question what she means by disappeared? Like, did he just go away or did she make him go away? Was supposed to be medicated and never told me. Didn't matter since she stopped taking her meds before we dated. She tried to make up for it by taking many different recreational substances that she failed to mention as well. Found her substance kit and I noped out. Her mother said, and I quote, "I'm surprised you made it as long as you did." I dated a girl that was bipolar, and I can confirm that things can drastically change if they suddenly stop taking their meds. Killed the dog that my dead spouse gave me. What a jerk. Please tell me you went on an epic killing rampage like John Wick. My husband's ex, his girlfriend from high school, was crazy because she set up an appointment for a portrait session to have pictures done for our 3 children for her house. No, we didn't let that fruitcake take our children. They broke up their senior year of high school. And this was when we were in our 30s. We were shocked by the contact from her, never mind the appointment. We also found out she had her phone number listed, this was the time of phone books, as Mrs. Our surname this whole time, which was never her real name. She was stuck in her high school fantasy, which was frightening. This is the kind of story that has me Googling my ex's first names in combination with my last name, just in case. I could see one in particular pulling crap like this. This is definitely the start of a horror or suspense movie. Beat the crap out of me, then out of his next GF and their kids. He lied about his police record and previous conviction from beating me. He is charming and manipulative, so I get why she believed him. He got out of prison recently for what he did, and I'm just glad I'm across the country now. He started messaging all the new guys he thought I would maybe go out with, asking them not to invite me out because he felt like he still had a chance with me. This happened not once or twice. This happened with around 10 guys. He didn't even know them in person. I didn't even know them. I told her after 3 years of dating that I was actually a war refugee from Chechnya. She just knew that I was from Russia, nothing more. And that I had seen a lot of horrible things during my childhood. I saw people get executed, bombs exploding, people dying slowly of gangrene, dodging snipers, etc. Never really told anybody this in my life since I came to America. I told her because I was pretty sure I wanted to spend my future with her. I told her it was a massive deal that I told her this in the first place, because I've never told anybody. She left me right afterwards because she assumed I was crazy or mentally damaged from all the crap that I went through. She said that she didn't want to date some scary war refugee. The worst part was her parents, who I mostly communicated through because she refused to talk to me. They believed it too. They said horrible things about me, saying I was a criminal, a junkie, that I would end up beating her up, and that I'm just another street Arab. I am Azeri, not Arab. They basically put their foot down and said I could never date someone like their daughter. It was one of the worst weeks of my life. Really made me lose faith in long-term relationships. For all those curious, it wasn't an immediate thing. She always found me sketchy in a way because I was from the bad part of Brooklyn, and she knew I had a history with some hard substances in my teen years, even after coming to America. She was scared of all that stuff. She wouldn't go to certain bars or clubs that had a certain type of person. She preferred yuppie bars. She came from a white upper-class suburbs, so right there it was a major divide in how we grew up. Apparently that divide made her really uncomfortable. Like she couldn't relate to me, and finding out that I was a war refugee was the last straw for her. She tried to drown herself in a river in the middle of December because she thought I wanted to sleep with someone else. I had to wait out and get her. This was after she spiked my phone on the ground when I received a text message from a friend saying my then girlfriend had left her purse at the bar. On a separate occasion, she grabbed her car keys from me after getting wasted, and when I tried to stop her from driving, she almost ran me over. Yeah, she was nuts. Sounds like this girl I dated once when I was younger. Way before Uber and Lyft was a thing. She had been drinking and I told her that I would drive her home. She was extremely adamant that she would be fine to drive. Well, I told her that I was going to at least follow her home to make sure, and she just said fine. Well, the moment she got into her car, it became a Fast and the Furious movie. She was driving like she just robbed a bank and I was the cops. She tried to lose me on the highway and I ended up catching up to her at some gas station, and she freaked out and sped off again. I stopped following her after she called me and told me that if her dad finds out she's dating someone, he would send someone to kill me. I wasn't taking any chances, so I backed off. As you might assume, she turned out to be extremely toxic. Murdered my pet cat and left her corpse in my sock drawer. Was pregnant with another guy's baby. I found out when she lost it during a substance overdose. That was when I learned that she was pregnant and also did substances. Genetics. Both of her parents were bat crap crazy, so I shouldn't be surprised when she started stalking me after she cheated on me and I dumped her. She threatened a few of my, and by extension our, female friends with physical violence just for being around me, and tried to get me fired from my job. She called my manager and told him that I was on substances. Nothing further from the truth, and had two of her other friends come into my store and be extremely angry customers saying I felt them up or something. Fortunately, my boss knew about everything that was going on and didn't buy any of it. I noticed my undergarments were going missing. I mentioned it while doing the laundry. He accused me of cheating, saying that I left my things at some other dude's house, and that totally meant that I was cheating, and he began hurting me for the missing things. I was pregnant with his child at the time. I kicked him out. I was scared crapless on how I was going to support myself while I was about to give birth and miss 6 weeks of work. I began packing his things to keep my frightened mind busy. Found a big box hidden in the basement full of my undergarments, huge inflatable toys for where the sun don't shine, and trans adult content. My thigh highs were tied in knots with junk hair sticking out of them. I put in a video labeled with my name. It's him dressed in my clothes, doing stuff to himself while pretending to be me. Turns out he was a secret crossdresser with a violent history and multiple substance charges. Lied about everything, from his education to his orientation. I don't trust human beings anymore. Oh, I had one mega crazy ex. This girl was 5 kinds of freaked in the head and needed to be locked up. First, she had a kid. I didn't doubt that. I saw her stretch marks. Not a big deal. She claimed the kid had been kidnapped by a baby daddy and disappeared. Okay, strange things have happened. Things started not adding up soon. She was a pathological liar. Started with, I make $60 an hour in the military, which I knew was BS for her rank, since my mom was a higher rank than she was and made far less than that. She stole my car one night, and by the time the cops got there, she had already got back and claimed innocence, and the cops threatened to arrest me for making a false report. She then tried playing the ultimate psycho card. She said she got a call saying that the kid and her dad had been found in a wreck in Canada, and that the kid was dead. At first, I wasn't sure to call BS on that or not. 2 days later, she downed a bottle of sleeping pills with a full bottle of vodka. While she was in the hospital, I did some digging and found out that she and her husband got a divorce. He was awarded full custody due to her being a complete nutbag. I noped the freak out of there as fast as I could. Crazy story, but I do want to point out that you can 100% get stretch marks without having a kid. I'm a dude and I have some. Sometimes you just grow too fast for your body to keep up. When he got himself locked in 4-point restraints in the ER because he was convinced he had AIDS and started trying to infect the staff. Or when he proudly told me that he was the son of Jesus Christ. Or when he tried to kick in my door at 3 a.m. as a grand romantic gesture. Or also when he thought his bald spot would grow hair again if he was just a better person. That Jesus Christ comment reminds me of that kid on TikTok that believes he's the reincarnation of Hitler, because he has a birthmark where Hitler apparently got shot. Cat disappeared. Strange, was a friendly cat. Upstairs neighbor with big dogs came down screaming that my ex somehow convinced both dogs to jump out of the window to their deaths. She attacked me with scissors and a knife on different days. Serviced some guy in his car outside of our apartment. Finally, turned on her hairdryer and threw it into the shower with me. It takes a lot to piss me off apparently. Man, I wasn't expecting this post to get as much attention as it did, so let me elaborate a little bit. 2 disclaimers, I was young and stupid, and she was sexy as freak. This doesn't excuse my not bugging out much sooner, but it's just to give you some insight in my frame of mind. What I mentioned was pretty much in chronological order. Regarding the cat, not really that unusual. He was an indoor-outdoor cat, so any number of things could have happened to him. A neighbor may have thought that he was a stray and taken him in. He may have been hit by a car while he was out on a prowl. I have no idea. It's more of a, in retrospect, I wouldn't be surprised at all if that crazy bee killed him type of thing. The dogs, now that's much stranger. My ex hated those dogs. They were big and noisy, and ran around the upstairs apartment playing all day long. As such, she started a bit of a war with the upstairs neighbor, who was herself pretty nuts. I stayed the hell out of it. My ex had said several times that she was going to kill those freaking dogs, but I passed it off as just being annoyed with the constant noise. Hell, I didn't like it either. But otherwise, the apartment was great, so we weren't really too excited to find a new place. The incident, whatever it was, happened while I was at work. I came home to the crazy neighbor screaming at my ex about how my ex somehow coaxed her dogs into jumping from the window. Now my ex was pretty petite, and these were big dogs. So there was no way she could have broken into the neighbor's apartment and physically thrown these dogs out the window. I've owned a few dogs in my life, and no matter how stupid they are, they were never so dumb as to fling themselves out of a window. Now I had no idea what the hell actually happened, and to this day, all of this was probably 20 years ago, I still can't explain it at all. But at this point, I did start looking at my ex from the corner of my eye, just wondering. On to attacking me with scissors and later with a knife. Well, these incidents proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that she was dangerous, but both happened in the heat of a moment, during arguments. As I mentioned earlier, she was quite petite, and I was much faster than her, so I had little trouble disarming her without being really in harm's way. I mean, it wasn't like she was going to try and kill me in my sleep in cold blood, right? Yeah. I forgot to mention there was another attack. She tried to mace me in our apartment. Inside, with the windows closed. I just backed up and raised one eyebrow. Like, what the hell are you even doing? The mace just settled in a big cloud in the middle of the room, missing me entirely. This really made her mad, so she charged at me for another go with her mace can, straight into the cloud that she created. She dropped like a rock, and I just rolled my eyes. Okay, come on, let's get you to the bathroom and wash this out. The makeup fun time after was great though. But at this point, the relationship was pretty much over. It was just a matter of actually, officially ending it, which neither of us really seemed to want to do. All of these things, of course, happened over a few years. And of course, in the times between these instances, it was actually all normal boyfriend-girlfriend type stuff. Shopping, vacations, laughter, dinners, and talking about the future. Of course, there was arguments and fights, some her fault, some mine, but most of the time we were both to blame. It wasn't like it was 2 or 3 years of nothing but crazy 100% of the time. Relationships aren't that simple. Anyways, near the end, we both had sort of stopped caring. That's when I caught her hooking up with some guy outside of our apartment. That was the, well, this is 100% done moment. It was failing before, but I had hopes that we could still work through it or something. Like I said, I was young and stupid, and she was hot. But nah, this was done. So I set my mind and attention to finding a new place. I didn't even want to bother fighting over the apartment. It wasn't that nice. I just wanted out. Oddly, we were getting along fine now. We both had accepted it, or so I thought. One day I come home before her and I hop in the shower. The past several days had actually been great. Laughs, hooking up, cooking, like a normal couple. She comes home while I'm still in the shower, walks into the bathroom, turns on her hairdryer, and without a word and without emotion, she just throws it into the shower with me and just dead-eye stared. I pulled a freaking Matrix slow motion action jump, arms out, water droplets slowly falling in some sort of hyper reality, as if, well, someone had just thrown a hairdryer in your shower. Probably yelled, "What the freak?" Then I got dressed and walked the hell out. Came to get my things later with an army of friends. This story was wild. Oh, and by the way, as a warning sign for all the men out there, if your girl ever tries to stab you, get the hell out. I had a friend that almost died when his girl stabbed him while he slept. No girl is hot enough to die for. He cheated and I was stupid and forgave him. 2 months later, I was served with an eviction notice because he lied to my face about having paid rent. I told him that I would give him a chance to work on himself, but I needed space and I would find somewhere apart from him 2 months later when the lease was up. He threatened to end himself 3 times, called me wasted multiple times, switched between "you're the best ever and I love you and I can't live without you" and "you're a lady of the night and you're the worst person ever, die alone." From voicemail to voicemail. By then, I had told him that we were definitely over, but the final nail in the coffin for him was when he drove to my new house wasted to call me names and tried to pull me out of my house. When I told him to leave or I was calling the police, and I just went into my house. He was psychotic and emotionally crazy, and will always be psychotic and emotionally crazy. The crazy bee literally made me choose between her and my mother and sister. She couldn't handle other women in my life. It went beyond not liking me being around them. She would go to crazy far lengths to get me away from any female in the vicinity. She never did that until a month or 2 before we broke up. Glad I did. He literally stopped talking to me after I told him I was SA'd. No breakup, just silence. He never spoke to me again. That's it for this video. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories. Link at the top of the description. And if you like Am I the Genius, give Am I the Jerk a shot. It's linked in the description too. Either way, thanks a lot for watching and we'll see you guys next time.